Welcome back to Minted Million Coins. Before you spend another penny, before you ignore that old coin sitting in your drawer, and before you assume that every Lincoln penny is worth just 1 cent, you need to watch this video all the way to the end. Because what I'm about to show you today has shocked collectors across America. Hidden among millions and millions of ordinary pennies are a handful of Lincoln cents that have become legendary among coin hunters. They don't sparkle like gold, they don't look like treasure, and yet some of these tiny copper coins have captured the attention of collectors in ways that most people would never imagine. Right now, somewhere in the United States, an old Lincoln penny is sitting inside a forgotten coin jar. Another is hiding in a family collection. Another may be resting inside a bankroll. And another may already be in someone's pocket without them realizing what they have. The incredible part? Most people would walk right past these coins without ever noticing them. That's because the secret isn't always obvious. The secret is hidden in tiny details, tiny differences, tiny clues, the kind of clues that separate ordinary coins from coins that collectors spend years searching for. And today, we're counting down 6 fascinating Lincoln pennies that have become some of the most talked about coins among treasure hunters and collectors. Each one has its own story. Each one has its own mystery, and each one proves that the most exciting discoveries can come from the most ordinary places. But here's the warning. Do not skip ahead, because the final coin on today's list may be the most surprising of them all. In fact, many people have owned one of these pennies and spent it without ever knowing what made it special. Imagine finding a coin that has been sitting quietly for decades. What if I told you that a tiny Lincoln penny, a coin most people would ignore without a second glance, could be hiding a shocking secret that only a handful of collectors know about? Imagine opening an old coin jar, searching through pocket change, or discovering a forgotten collection tucked away in a drawer, and finding a penny that suddenly makes experienced coin collectors stop in their tracks. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating Lincoln cents that has captured the attention of collectors across America. At first glance, it looks ordinary. It has the familiar portrait, the familiar date, and the familiar copper appearance. But beneath that ordinary look lies a story filled with mystery, rarity, collector demand, and the possibility of extraordinary value. As this video unfolds, you'll discover the hidden history behind this coin, the unique characteristics that separate it from millions of others, the details collectors obsess over, and the surprising reasons why certain examples have attracted intense attention in today's market. Stay with me until the end, because the final value reveal may completely change the way you look at every Lincoln penny you come across from now on. The story of the 1981 Lincoln penny begins during a fascinating period in American coinage history. At the dawn of the 1980s, the United States was facing rising production costs, changing metal prices, and growing concerns about the future composition of America's smallest denomination coin. Millions of pennies were being produced every year, but behind the scenes, important changes were being discussed that would eventually alter the Lincoln cent forever. The 1981 issue emerged during this transitional era, making it a particularly interesting coin for collectors and historians alike. When most people look at a 1981 Lincoln penny, they simply see another cent. But experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. Many of the most valuable coins in American numismatic history looked completely ordinary before their hidden significance was discovered. The obverse of the coin features Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in American history. His portrait had already appeared on the cent for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable images in the United States. The reverse displays the classic Lincoln Memorial design, a symbol that represented American history and national pride for generations. One reason collectors pay close attention to 1981 Lincoln cents is their place in the timeline of United States coin production. These coins were among the final issues struck before major composition changes transformed the penny. Because of this historical significance, collectors frequently study them in detail. The composition of the 1981 Lincoln penny is another fascinating aspect. These coins were primarily struck from a bronze. What if I told you that one ordinary-looking Lincoln penny could be hiding a secret that most Americans never notice? A coin so overlooked that millions of people have spent it without a second thought, yet certain examples have stunned collectors and sparked excitement across the coin-collecting world. Imagine reaching into an old coin jar, opening a forgotten piggy bank, or checking the pennies sitting in a drawer and discovering that one small copper-colored coin might not be ordinary at all. Today's featured coin is the 1988 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks just like countless other pennies. Nothing seems unusual. Nothing seems rare. Nothing seems valuable. But hidden within some 1988 pennies are details that have sent collectors into a frenzy. Tiny characteristics, nearly invisible differences, features that separate a common coin from a coin that can command astonishing attention in the marketplace. Before you spend another penny, watch this video until the very end, because the most important detail is something almost nobody checks. And once you know what to look for, you may never see a Lincoln penny the same way again. Welcome back to Minted Million Coins, the channel bringing you fresh coin discoveries, collector secrets, and exciting treasure hunting opportunities every single day. Let's uncover the mystery behind the incredible 1988 Lincoln penny. The story of the 1988 Lincoln penny begins with one of the most iconic coins in American history. The Lincoln cent has been a symbol of American coinage since 1909, honoring President Abraham Lincoln and becoming one of the most recognizable coins ever produced by the United States. By 1988, America was experiencing major economic changes, technological advancements, and a rapidly evolving coin production system. Millions of pennies were being struck at United States mint facilities, entering circulation and passing through countless hands every day. To the average person, a 1988 penny was simply another cent. Nobody expected these coins to become the focus of intense collector interest decades later. The 1988 Lincoln penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Design Series. The obverse features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally created by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse appears the Lincoln Memorial, a design that became familiar to generations of Americans. The composition of the 1988 penny is particularly important. These coins were struck primarily with a zinc core, covered by a thin copper plating. This composition had become standard after rising copper prices changed the economics of coin production. Yet sometimes, during large-scale production, unusual characteristics emerge. Tiny differences, small variations, unexpected details. These are the moments collectors dream about. And that brings us to the feature that has made certain 1988 Lincoln pennies so fascinating. Over the years, experts and advanced collectors began identifying unusual examples, displaying characteristics that differed from standard production. These differences were not obvious to casual observers. In fact, many people handled these coins for years without realizing what they had. When a collector discovers a coin that displays unusual minting characteristics, excitement spreads quickly throughout the hobby. The coin suddenly becomes more than pocket change. It becomes a treasure hunt. The most desirable examples are those showing exceptional preservation. Collectors refer to this as coin condition. What if I told you that one of the most overlooked coins in America could be hiding a secret that has stunned collectors for years? Right now, millions of people across the United States have jars full of pennies sitting in closets, drawers, garages, and old family collections. Most of those coins will never receive a second glance. Most will never be inspected. Most will simply remain forgotten. But what if one of those pennies is different? What if one small coin, worth only a single cent at face value, has become one of the most talked about Lincoln pennies among dedicated collectors? Today's story is about the mysterious 1995 Lincoln penny, a coin that appears ordinary at first glance, but has generated enormous interest among coin hunters, rare coin collectors, and treasure seekers across America. And here's what makes this story even more exciting. The detail that separates an ordinary penny from a collector's dream is something many people never notice. Stay with me until the very end, because today's value reveal and collector insights might completely change the way you look at every Lincoln penny you find. Welcome back to Minted Million Coins, the channel where we uncover hidden treasures, rare coin discoveries, valuable coin secrets, and exciting collector stories every single day. Now let's uncover the incredible story behind the 1995 Lincoln penny. The journey of the 1995 Lincoln penny begins during a fascinating period of American coin production. During the mid-1990s, the United States Mint was striking enormous numbers of pennies to satisfy circulation demand throughout the nation. These coins moved through banks, businesses, restaurants, supermarkets, and cash registers from coast to coast. For most Americans, the penny was simply part of everyday life. People carried them. People spent them. People ignored them. Yet collectors have always understood something important. The most extraordinary discoveries often begin with the most ordinary objects. The Lincoln cent is one of the most famous coins in United States history. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln, it became the first regularly circulating American coin to feature an actual historical figure. Over time, the Lincoln penny evolved from a simple coin into one of the most collected pieces of American numismatic history. The 1995 Lincoln penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial series, one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. On the obverse, collectors see the instantly recognizable portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner. The design symbolizes leadership, resilience, and American heritage. On the reverse appears the Lincoln Memorial, one of America's most recognizable national monuments. At first glance, stop everything you're doing and look at the pennies around you, because today's coin story might completely change the way you see pocket change forever. What if one ordinary-looking penny, a coin that millions of Americans have ignored for decades, could secretly be one of the most talked-about treasures among serious coin collectors? What if a tiny copper-colored coin hiding in an old jar, forgotten drawer, or family collection could contain a story so surprising that collectors are still searching for it today? Most people spend pennies without a second thought. Most people never look at the date. Most people never imagine that a coin worth just 1 cent on its face could attract enormous attention from collectors. But today we're revealing the incredible mystery of the 1983 Lincoln penny, a coin surrounded by excitement, hidden details, collector fascination, and surprising demand. And here's the shocking part. The most important detail isn't what most people think it is. It's a small feature that many people overlook completely. Stay with me until the end, because the final revelation may completely change the way you inspect every Lincoln penny you find from this day forward. Welcome back to Minted Million Coins, the channel bringing you fresh coin discoveries, hidden treasure stories, rare coin news, valuable coin education, and exciting collector insights every single day. Now let's uncover the fascinating story behind the legendary 1983 Lincoln penny. The story begins in 1983, a period when the United States Mint was producing enormous numbers of Lincoln cents for circulation across America. These pennies moved through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, banks, vending machines, and cash registers from coast to coast. At first glance, the 1983 Lincoln penny looked completely ordinary. Nothing about it appeared extraordinary. Nothing suggested that decades later, collectors would be carefully examining examples under magnification, searching for important details and preserving remarkable specimens. Yet that's exactly what happened. The 1983 Lincoln penny belongs to one of the most famous coin series in American history. Since 1909, the Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage and one of the most collected coins in the nation. On the front of the coin appears the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most respected presidents. The design was created by Victor David Brenner and became an enduring symbol of American history. On the reverse, collectors find the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, a structure recognized by millions of Americans and treasured by generations of coin enthusiasts. But the year 1983 holds special significance. During this period, the United States Mint was operating under the relatively new copper-plated zinc composition that had been introduced after rising metal costs changed coin production economics. This composition consists primarily of a zinc core covered with a thin layer of copper plating. While that may sound like a simple manufacturing detail, experienced collectors know that changes in composition, production methods, and minting processes often create opportunities for fascinating discoveries. Before you spend another penny, stop and watch this. Right now, somewhere in America, a coin collector is searching through old jars, dusty piggy banks, forgotten drawers, and family coin collections looking for one specific coin. A coin that millions of people have seen. A coin that countless Americans have spent without a second thought. A coin so ordinary looking that almost nobody realizes the incredible collector attention it has attracted over the years. But what if that coin is already in your possession? What if a simple Lincoln penny hiding among common pocket change is actually one of the most fascinating coins from the late 1980s? Today, we're uncovering the mystery behind the 1987 Lincoln penny. A coin surrounded by collector excitement, hidden details, surprising demand, and a story that continues to capture attention decades after it was minted. And trust me, the most shocking part of this story comes later in the video. Because one tiny detail can completely change the way collectors view a coin. Stay until the end, because the final value reveal and collector insights may surprise even experienced coin hunters. Welcome back to Minted Million Coins, your home for rare coin discoveries, valuable coin stories, coin collecting secrets, treasure hunting adventures, and fresh coin content uploaded every day. Now let's dive into the incredible story of the 1987 Lincoln penny. The story begins in 1987, a year when the United States Mint was producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents for circulation throughout the nation. Every day these pennies flowed through banks, grocery stores, restaurants, shopping centers, gas stations, and countless cash registers from coast to coast. To most Americans, a penny was simply a penny. Nobody stopped to imagine that decades later, collectors would carefully examine these coins under magnification. Nobody imagined that certain examples would become highly desirable among dedicated Lincoln cent enthusiasts. Yet history has a fascinating habit of transforming ordinary objects into collector treasures. The Lincoln penny itself is one of the most iconic coins ever produced in the United States. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, it became the first regularly circulating American coin to feature a real historical figure. The design immediately became part of American culture. Generations of Americans carried Lincoln cents in their pockets. Children collected them. Families saved them. Collectors searched for them. And over time, the series became one of the most actively collected coin programs in the nation. The 1987 Lincoln penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Memorial Series. The front of the coin features Abraham Lincoln's distinguished portrait designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln are the familiar inscriptions that Americans recognize instantly. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial. Imagine for a second, you're going about your day. Maybe you're grabbing a coffee, or you're cleaning out that old junk drawer in your kitchen. You see a glint of copper, a shiny, modern-looking penny. It's a 1994 Lincoln cent. You almost toss it back in the drawer. But wait, stop right there. Hold that penny up to the light. What if I told you that this exact coin, this seemingly worthless piece of pocket change, is sitting on a secret? A secret that could hold a treasure worth more than a new car. That your pocket change might be hiding a genuine certified mint error that is so rare, so desirable, that serious collectors are willing to pay a king's ransom for it. We are talking about a coin that in the right condition could be your ticket to financial freedom. We are talking about a prize that is sitting in the pockets of millions of Americans right now, completely unrecognized. Today on Minted Million Coins, we are diving deep into the fascinating mystery of the 1994 Lincoln penny. We are going to unlock its secrets, reveal its hidden value, and tell you exactly what to look for. This isn't just history. This is a real-life treasure hunt. The value of this coin? It is a staggering $25,000. Don't click away. Stay with me. You are about to find out why you need to check your change right now. Let's step back in time. It's 1909. The world is on the cusp of change, and to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the United States Mint does something revolutionary. For the first time ever, they place a real person's portrait on a regularly circulating coin. It was a bold move. Some even thought it was too presidential, too monarchical. But the nation fell in love with Victor David Brenner's design, and the Lincoln cent was born. Fast forward to 1959. On the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the classic wheat ears reverse is retired, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This is the iconic image of the penny that many of us grew up with, the one you see in your change every day. Now, the 1994 penny was struck during a fascinating era for the U.S. Mint. By this time, the composition of the coin had changed. In 1982, due to the soaring price of copper, the Mint transitioned from a 95% copper coin to a copper-plated zinc coin. So, that 1994 penny in your hand is actually 97.5% zinc, with only a 2.5% copper plating. It's light, it's modern, and it's produced in the billions, right? Well, mostly, there's a kink in the armor. A beautiful, valuable, and rare kink that makes this date one of the most exciting modern coins to hunt for. Here is where the story gets explosive. In the world of numismatics, the devil is in the details. For the 1994 Lincoln cent, the grail is known as the close-am variety. This is an error that occurs on the reverse of the coin. Look at the word America. Pay close attention to the letters A and M. On the vast majority of 1994 pennies, the billions that were struck for circulation, there is a distinct, clear gap between the A and the M. That's the standard design. But on a handful of incredibly rare and valuable examples, the A and the M are almost touching. They are so close, they look like they are practically kissing. That is the close-am variety. How did this happen? It's a stunning mystery of the Mint. It is believed that a reverse die meant for striking proof coins which have the close-am design was accidentally used in the massive production lines meant for regular circulation pennies at the Philadelphia Mint. One die, out of thousands, slipped through quality control and struck an unknown but very small number of coins before the error was caught. Think about that for a second. The U.S. Mint, in all its massive industrial glory, made a mistake. And that mistake is now a legendary treasure. That is why this coin is not just a rarity, it's a piece of history frozen in error. It's a secret the Mint didn't want you to know about. This rare variety is officially recognized by NGC and PCGs, the leading coin grading services. In the Cherry Picker's Guide, it's listed as FS 801. Its discovery has set the coin collecting world on fire. Now, let's talk about the moment of truth. The staggering, life-altering value of this coin. I'm not talking about that worn-out penny you can barely read the date on. I'm talking about a 1994 close-am penny in pristine, uncirculated condition. The kind of condition that makes professional graders, like those at PCGs, pause and admire its brilliance. A true treasure. When a 1994 close-am penny, graded in a high mint state, hits the auction block, the room goes silent. Serious collectors are ready to battle for this rare piece of American coinage history. And the price? The current market value for this incredible piece of treasure is a mind-blowing $25,000. This is the moment your life changes. This is the moment a penny you found at the grocery store turns into a down payment on a house, clears your debts, and sets you up for a massive windfall. This is not a piece of fiction. This is real. This is happening. The demand for this coin is skyrocketing. I urge you, don't let this treasure slip through your fingers. It represents more than just a coin, it's a treasure chest. So, you want to find this treasure? Here is the collector's battle plan. Start looking right now. Check your pocket change. Look through the penny jar. Go to the bank and buy a few rolls of pennies. This coin is out there, hiding in plain sight. Look specifically for the close M. If the A and M in America are close enough to almost touch, you have found a potential fortune. Standard pennies? They go back in the jar. But that close M? That goes into a protective case immediately. The evaluation: if you find one that looks promising, protect it. Handle it by the edges with gloves. Then, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGs or NGC. If they certify it as a genuine close am and assign it a high grade, your coin's value will instantly soar to the peak of the market. The 1994 Lincoln Close M penny is a modern miracle. It proves that a fortune can be hiding in plain sight, and that even in our modern age, the treasures of the past are just waiting to be found. This coin is not just a collectible. It is a powerful piece of Americana, a testament to the accidents of history, and a genuine liquid asset. It can make you rich overnight and serve as a cornerstone of a valuable collection. Its value is secure and increasing. This is true financial alchemy, turning a single cent into a legendary fortune. Don't forget, Minted Million Coins is your one source for uncovering hidden treasures and high-value rarities. We bring you the freshest and most exciting coin news every single day. Stay tuned because we have much more to uncover. Remember, the next treasure could be just a coin flip away. Next,